Good evening, yes. Good evening, everyone. So these are the concepts that are covered so far. In the first session, I gave demo session and training roadmap, and then I explained some computer basics over here in the second session. And in the last session, yesterday's session, I covered software development life cycle, right? And testing life cycle, and what are the different types of testing. Let's have a quick assessment first, rather than the aptitude we can discuss anytime. I just want to have a quick assessment. So Bharat, what is unit testing, Bharat?
Is the sum of the test having
Monica, what is unit testing? Monica, can you please unmute if you are speaking on mute? Monica, are you with us? Rohit?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. What is unit testing?
Unit test is called white box test. Unit test is on particular code or on part of the code to test is called testing code. Unit test.
Can you please come again? Can you please repeat that?
One particular
outside,
code
are you outside, Rohit? Are you out of
yes,
home?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am logging in mobile.
Now, please, so you can go through the recorded session. Okay, please don't join the sessions from outside while walking outside. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Where are you located, in which city, Rohit?
I'm sure I am in Surapet, sir. But
okay, please don't join from outside. Okay, please don't join the session while you are walking or driving, please.
okay, sir.
Not a good habit. Yeah. So let me move on to Venkateshwari. So what is unit testing? Chaitanya? Oh, I think Chaitanya, did you join yesterday?
Unit testing is the white box testing.
Okay.
Sir, audible, sir?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
During the development of an application,
Developers do that unit testing, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. So
verify its correctness.
You mentioned that you have interview fear and all, right? That's why I remembered that and I wanted to make you talk. Okay. Vamsi? Okay. Vamsi joined from today only, I believe. Ramesh, did you join yesterday? Yes, I can see that you joined yesterday. So what is integration testing, Ramesh? Please make it fast, guys. We are losing time. We are running out of time. Ramesh, what is integration testing? Okay. Anyone, guys?
Integration testing is that when multiple modules are merged together, that has been tested by the tester. In that case, making sure that the other
Rahul, we can't hear you. I think you are speaking, but we can't hear you.
Hello.
No? Yeah. Your voice is feeble now also.
Now it is audible.
Now it's better.
Okay. So integration testing is when multiple modules are merged together, and that has been making sure that other things are working fine. When we can say that when two developers are working on one module and then they are merging with the other modules. So in that case, integration testing is done. We are making sure that the things are working fine.
Right. Okay. And what is black box testing, Ravindra? Ravindra, what is black box testing? Ravindra, please, please unmute yourself. Sushmita, what is black box testing? Sushmita?
Application there you can
Can you please come again? Can you please come again?
Yeah, definitely. Black box testing is used for the quality analysis only. Suppose when you are trying to check any application, there you can see the options like login and logout options. We have to check like that only. This will be tested by the black box testing only. Quality analysis like that.
QA team. Black box
Yes,
testing
QA
is
team
nothing
only.
but what type of testing it is, right? So I see yesterday I covered different types of testing. So which one is black box testing here out of this?
It's functional testing.
Right. And what is white box testing? Oh, hold on, let me ask someone else. What is
Yeah,
Sandeep?
definitely.
Sandeep, what is white box testing? Sandeep, out of these, right? Yesterday I covered different types of testing, right? So what is white box testing?
Unit test.
Right, unit testing, which is done by developers, that is called as white box testing. And why are they called so? Oh, I think I did not cover that yesterday, right? So I told that I will be explaining why unit testing is called as white box testing and why functional testing is called as black box testing. I didn't explain that, right? Anyone have an idea by any chance? Some of you are from testing background, right? Manual testing background. Can you I'm sorry. Can you explain like what is why why is it called as white box testing? Why unit testing? Why is it unit testing called as white box testing, and why functional testing is called as black box testing? Yes, please.
So in white box testing, that whenever developer writes their code, so they are executing the code line by line. So in that case, they can see the
Rahul,
input and the output.
Rahul, your voice is not clear. Can you please move the microphone close to you?
Okay, sir. Now
Somewhat better.
okay. So white box
Please
testing
go
is
ahead.
done by the developer. In that case, that whenever they are writing the code and they want to check the output, so they are checking line by line. So in that case, they knows each and everything that related to their code is working properly or not. So they are giving the input and they are getting the output as expected or not in the sunny day scenario. So in that case, unit testing is done. Whereas in black box testing is done by the QA team only, and it is a functional testing because QA doesn't know about the code and all that thing. So in that case, whatever, for example, if we are talking about the login functionality, so QA will enter the username and password and click on login button. They don't know to remember that what are the things is running behind in the code. When they are clicking on the login, so next page should be displayed or dashboard should be displayed. So they depend upon the output only.
Right. Okay. So others understood this? How many of you understood? Others?
Yes, sir, I got it.
Okay. Can you please repeat that what you understood?
Yes, sir. Sir, in a white box testing is generally done by the developers, right? So they can able to see the code while testing that particular application. Wherein the black box testing is done by testing team where they cannot see the source code, right? That is the reason they call it as a black box testing.
Right. So developers, when developers does this unit testing, right? They know all the internals of the application. They know how the code works and which programming language is being used and all, right? So they know all the internals of the application. So that's why it is called as white box testing, whereas black box testing is done by functional testing team, and they need not know or they don't know all the internals of the application. They don't know the code and all, right? So that's why that is a black box for them. They don't know what is inside it. Once what is inside, how the application is developed and all, in which language it is developed or which framework it is developed and all, right? That's why this is called as functional testing, which is done by QA team is called as black box testing, right? Very, very important basic and fundamental question is, okay? So if someone is, so this may be one of the first 5 or 10 questions in most of the interviews. So if you are attending, particularly when you are attending, manual testing interview, right? So that this will be one of the first 5 or 10, first 10 important interview questions, okay? And important concept to know as well. Okay, so I'll move on as almost like everyone joined, seems to be joined, right? So I'll, like this, we will have such assessment daily. We will have the, like I want to follow this without any fail. I want to follow this thing, right? Daily assessment for the first 10 minutes. Today we we took up to 20 minutes. And also I'll be giving weekly assessment. I'll be giving weekly online test for you, for everyone, right? Which everyone has to attempt mandatorily, right? It's compulsory to attend that weekly assessment, and it's compulsory to do scripting. Okay. So if you're, I still see like some people are okay, that's fine. So maybe this is the first day that I'm taking session. I understand that. So let's move on. So, but please watch the recorded session if you did not understand something, right? So please watch the recorded session. Okay. So around next week. So this is the first weekend, right? So next weekend I will be giving online test. The first week 1 assessment. Okay. And we will be having two assessments on performance testing fundamentals and 4 assessments on the tool, on each tool. Loadrunner 4 weekly assessments and JMeter 4 weekly assessments. Okay. So I'll move on to the next concept. Okay. Now I explained yesterday what is the difference between functional testing and non-functional testing, and what are the different types of non-functional testing. So one last question for today. Afsia. Afsia, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
What are the different types of non-functional testing that I explained yesterday?
Performance testing, security testing, usability testing, and compatibility testing. So non-functional testing is nothing but you require a tool to perform it, like the different types of tools available, Loadrunner, JMeter, like etc. And security testing, you'll have again authentication and authorization testing. So basically, it's about like the parameters. Non-functional testing basically describes about.
Okay, thanks, Afsia.
Yes.
All right. So let's move on, guys. Let's understand now performance testing. Let me explain performance testing at a high level, right? And what are the factors for doing performance testing? What are the 4 major factors for doing performance testing? And why do we do performance testing for an existing application and for a newly built application? Let's understand this today. So first of all, performance testing, what is meant by performance testing and how is performance testing done, right? So if you, so how is performance testing done? So performance testing is done by simulating important business flows of the application, first thing. Now let's understand what is meant by important business flows of any application. Okay, let me take some examples. Let me take some application examples. Right. So let me take some application examples. I'll take some applications which everyone knows. So I'll start with let's say, for example, any e-commerce application like Amazon or Flipkart or JioMart. So what do you normally do? What does end users do with these applications, with these e-commerce applications like Amazon or Flipkart or JioMart?
Buying a product.
Okay. So before buying, you will search for a product, right?
Yes.
And or else if you want to buy a product, you will create an account, right?
User ID. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So shall I call that as user registration?
User ID. Yes.
Right. We'll register ourselves and create an account. So shall I say it as account user registration or account creation, right? And next, if you want to buy a product, you will search that product first, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Place an order. Buy product means place an order. Yes. Next.
Payment.
What?
Payment.
Payment, sure.
Yeah. So place an order, make payment. That is all part of this buying the product, right? Make payment and all this. What next?
My orders.
Right.
Delivery.
So you will be tracking the orders, right? By going to my orders, you may be tracking the orders. What else?
Cancel orders. Repayment.
Right. We may cancel some orders, our orders. What next?
Payment. Replacing the order.
Adding the bank accounts.
Okay. Refund the products. Isn't it? Refund refund items, purchased items. Okay. What else?
Adding bank details.
or return, I think that is return, right? Return is the correct word, right? Return purchased items. Yes. Next.
Review
Anything
the
else?
item. Review the item.
Okay. Review. Do you mean to say check the reviews?
Check
Product reviews?
Check product review.
Right. Okay. Okay. You mean to say sharing the feedback or review, correct?
Yes, yes.
Share feedback or review of the item, right? So this is what as an end user, this is what we normally do with any e-commerce application, right? Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes.
Now this is nothing but your important business flows of your application. So here, I mentioned that simulate important business flows of the application, right? So this is nothing but your, this is nothing but this is what we do, right? So this is what I mean to say important business flows of the application. Clear case?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now this is for a e-commerce application. Now let's take some other few more examples. Let me take a net banking application. So everyone may is having a net banking account, right? Net banking account, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. So I want from Subhash. Can you tell me what are the critical business flows for a net banking application, or what do we normally do with a net banking application? Subhash. Subhash, you had to speak out.
Yeah, sir.
Huh. So what do you normally do with a net banking application? Can you list out some important business flows for a net banking application?
Doing login, sending the transactions to adding the beneficiaries.
Right. We'll come one by one. So first we will create an account, right? User registers himself and create an account. Next
we do the login, sir.
Login and we check balance, right?
Check the
login
balance.
and check balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Next,
View the statement.
okay.
Statement.
View account
Statement.
statement. Okay. Next,
Fund transfer.
some frequently done, transactions on the net banking application.
Yes.
Fund transfer.
Fund transfer. Yes. Yes.
Yes, sir.
What else?
Adding beneficiary.
Yeah, someone said adding beneficiary. Yes. Adding beneficiary or modifying beneficiary, right? You remember, whenever some bank gets acquired, right? So IFSC, there will be change in the IFSC code. Then we'll modify that beneficiary, isn't it? Yes or no? Next, what
Yes,
else?
sir.
Adding beneficiary, modifying beneficiary, or delete beneficiary. What else? That's it. That's all we do with the net banking application.
Changing password.
Sridhar?
Online bill payments.
Okay. Bill
Yes, sir.
payments. So Sridhar,
Changing passwords.
what is that?
Changing passwords and
Right. So shall I call it as profile update?
yes,
Changing password or changing address, changing mobile number or changing email address, right? All fall under
Yes,
this
sir, yes,
profile
sir.
update, right?
yes.
Next.
Service request.
Some services were like
Service
loan
request.
and everything.
Right. Loan request, service request, and all this.
Credit card request.
Credit card request, credit card bill payments, utility bill payments, and all this, right? So these are the critical business flows of a net banking application, isn't it? Right. So this is what I mean to say when I say how do we do performance testing? So first we will create one script for each of these critical business flows. If you want to do performance testing for any application, first we need to develop one script for each of these critical business flows. One script for user registration, one script for search product, one script for placing an order, one script for verifying my orders, and one script for cancel orders, right? And return purchased items like this. So we will be developing a performance test script for each of these important business flows. Please note this. So we will be testing only important business flows. Okay, we'll be testing only important business flows of the application. And apart from these, there will be some pages, right, which will be viewed by stakeholders. Okay, some dashboard kind of pages, which will be visited by stakeholders. By the what is meant by stakeholders? Any idea what is meant
Who
by
is getting beneficiaries and who is
So the management, let's say I'll do one thing, otherwise I'll change it as management to make it simple. Right? So dashboard pages will be visited by the management, and we will simulate also. First thing is we'll simulate the important business flows of the application. How do we simulate that? We create the scripts for each of the business flow first, and we will execute the test with those business flows. Okay, and also not only important business flows, but we will create, we will develop some scripts for dashboards which are visited by the management, right? And then we test the application under target user load. Test the application under target user load. As there is some background noise, I'm muting everyone. So if you have any query, right, please feel free to stop me and get it clarified there and then. Okay, don't wait till the end of the session. So if you have any query, so get it clarified immediately. Otherwise, some people maybe some people like me may be thinking around that query only. Okay, so get your doubts clarified immediately. Next. So we test the application under the target user load. What is meant by target user load? Let's say, everyone knows IRCTC application, right? So IRCTC application will be used by around 4 to 5 lakh users per day on an average. Okay, these are some official numbers released by IRCTC itself. Okay, so of course, let's exclude this pandemic situation. Otherwise, IRCTC used to have 4 to 5 lakh users per day. And something like how many tickets will be booked across the country on IRCTC application? How many railway tickets or train tickets will be booked per day? Any idea, guys?
Around 20 lakhs.
Right. Around someone might have, who is this? I think you watched my demo session, previous demo session, or that.
Previous demo session was.
Okay. So 20 lakh tickets will be booked across country. IRCTC used to get, like 20 lakh ticket booking on just website, IRCTC website. Okay. Now in total that is. So out of those 20 lakhs, right? So 2 to 3 lakhs tickets will be around 2 lakh tickets will be booked through reservation counters. We have IRCTC reservation counters, right? So as a whole, like IRCTC application will be used by around 4 to 5 lakh users per day, right? So at any point of time, the user load on IRCTC application will be the maximum user load of IRCTC is around like 1 lakh users, right? So even though like 4 to 5 lakh users use per day, they will not use at once, right? When will IRCTC application have maximum user load, guys? Concurrent user load means at any point
Tatkal time, booking of Tatkal time.
Right. So when the Tatkal window opens, IRCTC will have more number of users, right? Right. Concurrent users.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay. So that is a target user load. If 1 lakh is the user load on IRCTC application, so we have to, when we are testing IRCTC application, kind of applications, right? We have to test the application with 1 lakh user load. 1 lakh user load, right? So how can we do that? How can we test an application with 1 lakh user load or the target user load? We'll discuss it later. For now, first understand that how do we do performance testing? Okay. Is this second point clear? Test the application under target user load.
Yeah, understand.
Right. Yes, and next, so what is the objective of doing this testing? We validate the application or server readiness, right? This is another reason for doing performance testing. So to validate the application or server's readiness ahead of peak events like Big Billion Sale or Black Friday sale. whenever there is a big billion sale or Amazon Prime sale, we are like I think Amazon Prime sale is approaching fast, right? So whenever we have some peak events like this, like Republic Day sale or Independence Day sale on e-commerce applications, there will be generally more number of user load on the servers, right? More number of users will be doing the shopping, online shopping, isn't it? So whenever any application or whenever any business has such peak events, right? So before those peak events, right? So the business team, right? They want to verify whether their application can, handle that load or not, the expected load or not, or more than expected load or not, right? So we do that, how do you validate that is by doing this performance testing. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
And test the application stability before and after version release. So what is meant by this version release? Let's say, for example, some new feature is added to the application. Can you list out some new features of applications, which you are aware of? మీరు రెగ్యులర్ గా యూజ్ చేసే అప్లికేషన్స్ లో ఏమైనా కొత్త ఫీచర్స్ యాడ్ అయినాయా రీసెంట్ టైం ఇన్ ద రీసెంట్ పాస్ట్?
WhatsApp is helping us to hide last seen and profile from contact.
Yeah, WhatsApp is a future like a disappearing message of 24 within 24 hours.
Right. Yes. Thank you. So he's the other one, like who gave that WhatsApp example? The lady.
Jagdishwar.
No, the first one.
Afsia.
Yeah. Right. So every application, some new features will be added for every application, isn't it? So for example, Facebook has, like previously Facebook doesn't have dark theme. Now dark theme was introduced in Facebook, like I think last year, 2020 or 2021, early 2021. Let's not bother about the exact when it was introduced, but that is some new feature introduced in Facebook, for example. Whenever such new feature is introduced, right? So we have to, before the application goes into production, they will do for performance testing before that application, before that new feature is introduced into production. Now what is this production? What is this production environment, right? So live environment is called as production environment, which is accessible by the public. That is called as production environment. Okay. Clear, guys? So we test the application stability before and after version release, right? So for doing, so how do you test the application stability? Is by doing performance testing, right? So now I believe, like, most of you understand, like, what is the importance of performance testing. Okay. Shall we move to the next one, or any queries here?
What is this dashboard pages, Venkat? May I know the example of it?
Okay. My name is not Venkat, okay, by the way.
Sorry.
Yeah, fine. So dashboard pages means, see, let's say for example, so there will be some pages which will be visited by the management. Let's say for example, any application, let's say Amazon or Flipkart, there may be having admin login, means where we can see like how many products are being sold and how much revenue is made, right? There will be certain dashboards for that in that application. So those are called as dashboard pages, which will be visited by the management or the stakeholders. So I think stakeholders is
got it.
Let me introduce that. Oh, sorry.
Got it.
Yeah. So let me introduce the term stakeholders. Stakeholders means those who are part of that company.
Nothing but owners of the company, right?
Right. Owners and investors as well. So there will be certain investors also who will be investing in the business, right? Those are also called as stakeholders. Okay.
Thank you.
Remember this term, guys. Okay. So there is one question called in the recent, in one of the recent interviews. Let me pass recording of that company. Understood, guys, what is meant by stakeholders?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now let's move on to the next. Any queries before we move to the next slide?
Sir, I have one query.
Yes.
Sir, you said that we will develop a script for each business flows.
Right.
So are we checking any functionality there, or just will send the target user load to that? Sir?
No, we are not bothered. Of course, now application should be functionally stable. Of course, if you want to do performance testing, application should be functionally stable. First of all, functional testing, there should not be any functional issues.
Okay.
Right? But as a performance testing engineer, right? So we are not bothered about, functional testing. Anyways, there is a separate functional testing team for that.
Okay.
Right. So
Yes, sir.
we will be generating load and checking, like, how is the application behavior on user load when it is subjected to some user load, how the application is responding.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes.
That is what we do as part of performance testing.
Yes.
Sir,
Any other queries, guys? Anyone?
Sir.
Yes, please.
If functional parameter is not fit, then performance will not going to get the good result.
Obviously.
No relation.
Obviously,
So
you mean to say, like,
as a performance test engineer, I am not getting as a good result because of a functional requirement. So what is then my?
No, wait. So an application should be functionally stable, first of all. That is one of the prerequisites for doing performance testing. If we want to start performance testing, right? So the application should be functionally stable. There should not be any major functional issues. Okay. If it is a minor functional issue, we can ignore that particular business flow. Right.
Okay.
But one of the prerequisites for doing performance testing is a stable build with no major functional defects.
Okay, got it, sir.
Obviously, when the application is, functional testing we do with one user or two users, right? So when we when an application is not working correctly, not meeting the functional requirements, obviously we can't do performance testing. That doesn't make any sense to do performance testing, isn't it? So performance testing is something which we do with more load on the application, right? If the application is not working for one or two users itself, right? So it definitely, like, we cannot, doing performance testing doesn't make any sense, isn't it? So now what will you do, for example? So let's say, for example, there are some functional issues in profile update when you're trying to update your mobile or when you're trying to update your email ID. That particular functionality is not working, right? Then what should we do with performance testing? You are supposed to execute a performance test, but in the last minute you found out that that profile update feature is not working correctly. Then what do you do? Any guess?
No, sir.
Okay. So first we have to determine how important this is, right? How important this is. If it is, very important transaction, right, of the application, so we cannot go ahead with the performance testing. But if it is a minor thing, if it is not not an important feature of the application, right? Or there will be less number of profile update. How many times have you done profile update in your net banking application or any other application?
Less times.
Very few.
Right? We'll do very few times, right? So hardly like once in a year or twice in a year, once or twice in a year, or thrice in a year, isn't it? So we'll skip that particular script. We can skip that particular script. We can ignore that particular script, and we'll go ahead with the major business flows or important business flows. So that's what I mentioned here. That's what I have highlighted here. Important business flows of the application should be simulated. We need to test with important business flows of the application. Right?
Yes, got it.
We also call that as critical business flows of the application. Okay. Critical means nothing but important business flows of the application. Okay. To answer your query, shall we move to the next slide?
Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir.
Now let's understand what is performance testing. What are the okay. So this is the definition for performance testing, like in a one-liner. So for performance testing is non-functional testing to determine an application's speed, right? Speed, stability, scalability, and reliability. It is a non-functional testing to determine an application's speed, stability, scalability, and reliability. So when you say an application, it can be a web application, or it can be a mobile application, mobile app, right? You know what is the difference between application and an app, right? I believe most of you know that. Okay. Application versus app. What is the difference between an application and an app? So application is the general term used for web applications, websites, whereas app is a general term used for mobile apps. Okay.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So app is an app or apps is a term which is used for mobile apps. Okay. Apps is also, full form is also application here, but generally for mobile applications, we use this term called apps. Whereas for websites, we use this term called application. We use this term application, right? So it can be so you may be testing a web application or a mobile application or a desktop application as well, right? So application can be anything. And non-functional testing is to determine an application's speed, stability, scalability, and reliability. When I say speed, what is meant by speed of the application, guys?
Response time.
Right. We check for the response time of the application and the stability. What is meant by stability? How stable the application is, right?
Yes,
How stable the application
increasing.
is.
Yes.
And the scalability means how scalable the application is. Scalable means, like let's say, for example, any application supports 1 lakh users. Let's say some application, there is some website which support 1 lakh users. Now, what is scalability? Let's say, for example, in the next 1 or 2 years, the user load will be, target user load will be 1,20,000, right? Now we have to test whether our application can scale up to 1,20,000, can support that increasing user load or not. That is testing that is called as scalability testing, right? And reliability testing means once the application goes into production, how reliable the application will be, okay, without any outages and all. That is reliability. So performance testing is a non-functional testing to determine an application's speed, stability, scalability, and reliability if you want to define a performance testing. Okay. Is it clear, guys? Is the definition clear?
Yes.
Yes.
And now, so I explained these in detail. What are the 4 major factors for doing performance testing? So when I say speed, this is nothing but to check if the application responds quick enough for the intended users, and response time should be less. Response time should be less means response time should be within the SLAs. Okay, let me elaborate it. Response time should be within the SLAs. Now let's understand what is meant by SLAs. First of all, SLA stands for service level agreement. SLA stands for service level agreement. Okay, so let me write it over here. I'll open a Word document for your batch, and I will be noting all those, in that Word document, and I'll be sharing with you. So for now, I will be continuing this Notepad. Okay, Notepad++. So service SLA stands for service level agreement. What is meant by this is a service level agreement. So when the development team is developing any application, right, they will be given some SLAs, right? The management or the stakeholders will give some SLAs to the development team. What are those SLAs? Let's say I'm giving some example numbers, guys. My home page of the application should be loaded in 2 seconds, right? User should be able to log into the application in 3 seconds, something like this. So these are called as SLAs, response time SLAs. Okay. Let me elaborate it. Response time SLAs. Clear, guys? Understood, guys? So management or are the stakeholders of the application will tell you, right? So are the product owner actually. So to be precise, there will be someone called product owner. We'll discuss that what is meant by product owner and all later on. So the management will tell you whenever some new application is being developed, right? The stakeholders of the management will define some certain response time SLAs. Generally, this will be done by a team called business analyst team, BA team, where BA stands for business analyst team. How do they come to these numbers? Homepage 2 seconds load avali, or else login, on what basis do they decide
After testing.
this? No, on what basis they define the SLAs?
No, based on the requirement.
Based on the requirement and based on the competitors.
Users based.
No, based on the industry standards. Let's say, for example, GeoMart is developing an application. GeoMart came into the market very recently, isn't it? Let's say, for example, GeoMart was launched last year, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Yes, you know GeoMart, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Reliance, this is from our Reliance, right? So they are into the same business like Amazon and Flipkart. So let's assume that, when GeoMart is developing their application, right, they will first look at the competitors. They will first look at the existing players. how much time that Amazon or Flipkart homepage is loading, or how much time it is taking to log into the application, right? They will look into the competitors and businesses which are into the same industry, and based on that they will define these SLAs. Now GeoMart will say that my homepage also should be loaded in 2 seconds. My login page should be loaded in 3 seconds, right? These requirements will be given by a team called business analyst team. Clear, guys? And they will define some certain SLAs like this. For example, if you want to view orders, fast orders, so this can take a bit more time, like 5 seconds. It may take like more time than homepage and login, right? Or else, when you have account statement, you might have observed this. When you want to do accounts, view the account statement, generate a report, right? Generally, it will take some time, isn't it? It will take a couple of seconds, more than the normal response time, right? So these are called as response time SLAs. Is it clear, guys?
Clear.
Yes.
Now coming back to this, response time should be within the SLAs, right? So that is what we check. That is the first and foremost thing that we check in performance testing. What is the response time of each page, home page? How many seconds home page is taking to load? How many seconds application, when we log into the application, how many seconds it is taking per login, right? So we check those, like we check whether the response times are within the SLAs or not. Okay. And stability means I already explained, to check how stable the application is under expected and unexpected user load. How stable is the application under expected and unexpected user load, right? Application performance should not degrade even after using very long time also. The application performance should not degrade even if you are using continuously, using that application continuously for very long time. So then we can say that the application is stable, right? And also, not only under expected user load, whenever there is some unexpected user load also, response times may increase, but application should not crash, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Tatkal, whenever there is Tatkal booking, right, we expect that, we expect, or we are prepared mentally that, the pages will be slow because there will be more number of users. But we don't expect if the application breaks off, if the application is displaying 4 not found and 404 not found error messages, right? Our page can't be displayed, our site can't be reached. We don't expect those kind of performance issues, isn't it?
Yes, sir. We are expecting like a slow time.
Right. Response time may increase, but the application should work, isn't it? Even though there is some unexpected user load, isn't it? Right?
Yes,
and
sir.
next, scalability means, can the application handle unexpected user load and how does it behave beyond its capacity? Right? This shows the application's ability to handle increasing user load without performance degradation. We just now discussed it, right? So let's say if you have normal user load is 1 lakh, right? And team want to check whether the application can support 10,000 more users or 20,000 more users. That is called as scalability testing. How scalable the application is. Okay. So what is the general meaning of scalable? What is the general meaning of scalable? Able to be scaled or climbed, able to be changed in size or scale, right? Clear, guys? Understood, guys? What is scalability?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And reliability. Coming to the last one, reliability. Reliability is how reliable is the application and will users have positive experience on go live. Go live means once the application goes into production, will the users have positive experience, right? Or how reliable the application would be. That is called as reliability. So these are the 4 major factors for doing performance testing. Okay. So I'll stop it here, guys. So we'll we'll spend the remaining 5 minutes for any doubt clarification and Q&A, and we'll I'll continue tomorrow. Any queries, guys?
Sir, will you provide any documents for like your slides? Any documents will you provide it?
Yes. So I'll be sharing this training material to you once you confirm your joining. I will be sharing this training material. Not only that, I will create let me create a Word document for giving you the notes. Daily notes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.